and welcome back to another edition of Growing Kentucky's Leaders, a podcast from the Kentucky FFA Foundation. I'm Sheldon McKinney, the Executive Director.
And I'm Ruth Ann Fink, the Development Officer.
And I hope you all are listening to this via YouTube. If not, you need to go and check out who we're with today. We are with Heather and Cash Singleton. They are Crittenden County FFA members. They are the winners of the Kentucky FFA State Talent Contest. They've been keeping FFA members entertained on the porch of FFA camp all summer when they were there. And they're also the entertainment for our Blue and Gold Gala this year. So, guys, why don't you all introduce yourselves and tell our listeners about who you are and what you play?
Well, I'm Cutter Singleton, old man of the group, I guess. Here, 17. I'm his older brother. And of course, we're from Marion, Kentucky, like you said, and love playing bluegrass music. So that's what we kind of hone in on. That's what we really enjoy doing.
And I'm Cash Singleton. I play the mandolin. I'm 14 years old. I'm a freshman, and Cutter pretty much summed it all up.
Old Cash here, he tags along with us here.
Quite the pair.
That's
what
right.
all do you play?
Right. What's that?
What all do you play?
Well, on stage most of the time I play a guitar, but I can play a banjo on stage too, and dobro if I have to, or if the bass man has to sing a song, plays guitar, I play bass. I play piano and all kind of stuff, and Cash is multi-instrumentalist, but most of the time just the guitar and the banjo.
Well, that's awesome. I think you need to tell our listeners, when did you all start playing music, and then who or what inspired you to get started?
Well, I'll tell you, I was 4 years old really. I took my first lesson at 5, but I was right down in land between the lakes. They have a elk and bison range down there, and so I was 4, I guess. Cash, I think he was in the car. He was just a baby, you know. And I like to think he's been struck ever since that moment, but I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway, I was 4 and had the radio on down there and listening, and the Ballad of Jed Clampett, the old Flat and Scruggs song, theme song to the Beverly Hillbillies, come on the radio. And I asked my mother, I said, "My gosh, Mom, what is that?" And she said, "Well, that's bluegrass." And I said, "Man, I want a banjo for Christmas." And so Christmas Day, I got my banjo. Santa Claus brought me a banjo, you know. And Christmas Day of 2012, I took my first lesson, or New Year's Day of 2012, I took the first lesson. And took lessons from a fellow named Jack Martin down out of Paducah, Kentucky. And he played the dobro for Lester Flatt, played bass for Bill Monroe. And so he's had his time, several appearances, a couple years on the Opry and doing some real neat things. So I learned a lot about the music from Jack, but I learned a lot about how to appreciate the history of the music in that too, and how to put on a show and how to be an entertainer, you know, and I learned a whole lot of that sort of thing. So after that, I took lessons from Jack for 4 years. And he said, "Well, I taught you about all I could teach you." He said, "I'm going to hire you." And so he hired me to play banjo for him. And so then he sent me down to a fella in Nashville named Haskell McCormick. And Haskell played banjo on all Johnny Cash's sessions, did a lot of work for Marty Robbins, of course, played for Monroe and Lester Flatt as well. So there was a whole other aspect there and more advanced lessons and learning from him. And Cash, there's a little competition there.
I just kind of picked it up after him. I seen the Lester Flatt roll and Flat and Scruggs, and I just took off with it. And somewhere along the line, I switched to mandolin, and I just fell in love with it. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Yeah. What about the mandolin made you fall in love?
The tone. I like the tone and the fastness and the hard driving of it. And it's just a lot of fun to play.
Yeah. I love that too. Do y'all come from a musical family?
Well, sort of, but not directly, if that makes sense. My great grandfather through my dad's grandfather, he played the steel guitar and had a little rockabilly type group here, just locally, playing service stations and old garages and that sort of thing. And my granddad, my mom's dad, he played a little flat top guitar, you know, but nothing very serious, just out of the mere funness of doing it. Yeah. So we were really the first out of our family to kind of take it and run with it and push it, you know.
Yeah. And you all totally have. I want you to tell a little bit about your musical experience and just what you all have done.
We've done some pretty wild things. We got some pretty wild things coming up, so we're excited about that. Like in the year of 2023, we put in, it was over 70 shows. And so that was a great number for us. And I mean, we're putting quite a few miles on the old van, but that's a good thing because we love it. but we're going here. Well, matter of fact, just in a short time here, going to Miami, Florida, Sarasota, Florida. Come back, we'll go to Pennsylvania. We got North Carolina. Carnival Cruises contracted us out for coming up, so got some really interest. Oh, Montana, that's a big one.
Montana.
We're excited about that. But we've done some
Awesome.
really neat things in the past that we're proud of too. And one of my big ones. This is something that I've wanted for a long, long time, and I know Cash is the same way. But we finally got us some records that are coming out, and so that's a huge deal for us.
Mm-hmm.
But what really makes those records special is they're produced by 56-year member of the Grand Ole Opry and Grammy Award winner Jeannie Seeley. And so Jeannie is really taking care of us and getting us the right songs and getting us the right people to push those records. And we're learning a lot about the business because I want to learn just as much as I can. I like soaking that sort of thing up.
Sure.
Mm.
So we will link to some of those singles in our show notes.
Definitely.
So people can check
I
that out.
appreciate
What's
that.
the
Thank
name of
you.
the one? If they were going to Google you, what's the number one thing that you want them to hear?
Well, we've got two that are out, but the big one that we're just now pushing right now is a bluegrass cut of an old Waylon and Willis song called "Mamas Don't Let You Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys," and so we're
Okay.
pretty excited about that.
Mm.
That's awesome. We will definitely make sure we listen to it. So you have this rich experience of being musicians, but you all are also FFA members and current students and FFA members at Crittenden County. Tell us a little bit about what your experience in FFA and agriculture education has been like, and how has it helped you all on the stage?
Well, I'm a senior in high school, and so I've been in FFA as long as I can, so 4 years. But there's so much that I've learned through that program that I'm able to incorporate every Saturday night at some show somewhere. I mean, you learn so much of your leadership skills. I tape roll as a band leader and do all the MC work for the shows. So I've learned a whole lot about how to speak in front of a public crowd. And that's something that is really, it's richly blessed me in a way, because it's something that I use every single time. Well, right now I'm using the things that I've learned. And so I those things are so dear to me because it's something I'm not only going to be able to use now, I've used in the past, but things that I'll be able to use from here on out. And it kind of sets us different from somebody else. And so it really does. FFA is something that I really hold dearly because of the things I've learned through the program.
Okay.
Mm.
Cash, you're a freshman FFA member. Have you got your green hand degree yet?
No, that's next. That's next. So
You got to learn the creed.
that's right.
You should have no trouble remembering that with all the things that you have in your head. That's great.
That's
And just tell
true.
us, what are some of the most fun things you've gotten to do with FFA?
I guess it'd be winning the state competition.
That was fun, but my favorite, camp. Camp is
Camp
so
was-
much fun.
I love
Oh
camp.
gosh, it
Yeah.
is just great. You know, you get well, and that goes back to the sort of things that you learn about, but you get to build a relationship with people that you would have never gotten a chance to meet before, and it's great. I got people I talk to every day just about that I've met through FFA camp. And so it really is something special about FFA. I enjoy it. It really is. I'm gonna miss it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. We love hearing about your all's experiences. Cash, we're looking forward to seeing you grow in FFA in the years to
Thank
come.
you.
And we know FFA and ag education really go hand in hand. We want to ask you all, aside from FFA, we know you love it and that's you've had some great experiences. What got you all interested in agriculture education, the industry of agriculture? What's that interest there?
Well, of course, my parents, they were Cash. We got the same folks, but they were also an FFA, and so they wanted you, and they said, "Well, you need to try that out. You need to go see what you think about it." And so, first time you go in the classroom, you're all anxious and excited about what's going on. What we're going to learn, what we're going to do, and so going into that and getting into the classroom, learning some things. Getting the fundamentals set out. What is agriculture? What does it stand for? Why should you be in it? And so, whenever you figure out that your whole country and everything that you depend on runs on agriculture, wow, I want to be a part of this. And so you get a sense of pride that comes to you through agriculture. And so then you get into the shop classes, then you get to really getting your hands dirty, get into things. I enjoy that sort of thing. So after we got into that, I just fell in love with it and been in it ever since. I love it. It's some great things.
I love it. That's wonderful. I'm just so impressed with you guys. It's just so fun to hear you talk and just be with you all. We had a lot of videos people were sending from you all this summer at FFA camp. And I want to let you know one of the people you played on the porch with was a Bourbon County FFA member named Joe Fritch.
Oh yeah,
And
old Joe.
yeah, Joe, he wrote and is recording our intro and outro music to the podcast.
Well,
So
that's
Good
great.
deal.
yeah, it's
Boy,
pretty
Joe's a
special.
fine picker. Joe's a fine picker.
He sure is. Yeah, his mom works closely with us, and his dad's an ag teacher too. So impressed with all of you all. You need to know it. It's incredible what you all have done. So, as we check on you all in the next 5 years, what do you hope you'll be doing? What if all your dreams come true in music? What are you going to be doing?
Well, the main thing people always ask us, well, what are your thoughts after you graduate? You know, what are you going to do? And I always give everybody the same answer, and that's to keep on keeping on. And I plan on doing that. And so, you know, it's one of those things you can't plan this sort of thing out. Well, you can't plan anything out in life, but especially this because you just don't know where it's going to take you. But I have firm standings in believing that we're gonna do something with this because I have such a passion for it, and we are getting to do some incredible things. But of course, you know, everybody wants to play the Grand Ole Opry, and so that's something that we're working hard to get to. You know, we've got our records out, hope that they do well, and get some more records out, and it's just a never-ending process that you just carry on and hope it turns out well. And things are really set good for us, and I'm proud of that. I really am.
Oh, Cash, what about you in 5 years? You'll be freshly graduated from high school. Where do you hope to be? What do you hope to have accomplished at that point?
Well, hopefully we'll be doing music still, which I plan on doing it the rest of my life. I'm real excited to do it, and I'm just in love.
Well, I'm gonna just say I hope you get your American FFA degree, Cutter. I hope you can get your state degree, Cash. I hope you all keep competing and learning and growing in FFA. And you know, Kentucky just has such a rich history of music, and some of the best musicians in the world come from our state. And so I believe you're gonna be on that Grand Ole Opry stage. And when you do, I hope you shout out FFA.
Yes.
That'd be all right then.
We got our start at the Kentucky FFA State Convention Talent Show, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and what an honor it is to have that big wood plaque of Kentucky hanging on the wall. Boy, that's exciting. You know, I like walking by that. You know, they said, "Well, you gonna let that hang down here in your classroom?" I said, "No, no." I said, "That's going on my wall. That ain't
That's
going
going
home."
Yeah,
That's
great.
awesome.
And you'll have it forever. It's so special.
That's
So
right.
Well, guys, tell our listeners, where can they find you? Where should they be following along your music journey? Tell them what they need to know.
Do a whole lot on Facebook. That's one of our big outreaches of music. But of course, you can find our music on any streaming platform. You can find it on our website, cutterandcash.com. And so you can find us anywhere. And whenever we're coming close to you, please come and see us. You know, that'd be all right with us. But because we go all over the place, all over the state, and especially, you know, I mean, the country too. But you can find our music just about anywhere you look for it. So as long as you're looking, you'll find it. And that's the main thing.
Good.
And you all are so talented. We enjoyed you at our
Thank
gala
you.
so much this year. You were perfect, and just everyone loved it.
I think my
That
dad
was
is your all's
fun.
#1 fan. He really fangirled over you all.
Well, listen, boy, that was a fun time. That was a good auctioneer you had up there too. I liked that.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one night raises, over $200,000 for Kentucky FFA. So it's pretty special to get to be a part of.
It sure was. That was really quite a treat. We was proud to do that.
Yeah. So we ask all of our guests the same 3 questions as we wrap up. And so I'd like for each of you to answer however you feel comfortable. But our very first question is, what is the best piece of leadership advice you have ever been given?
Well, there's several pieces of advice that I'd like to share. One of them is something that it represents a whole lot of what we do, and can be used in many walks of life. But it goes like this: know what you're worth and when you're worth. And that means a whole lot to me. And you can use it in a lot of different ways, a lot of different senses. But that's something that has stuck to me.
That's good. Know what you're worth and when you're worth.
and when you're worth. And sometimes it ain't always just a good ego builder, you know. Sometimes you got to think, well, hold on, you know. But it's a lot of time you got to understand what you're doing. You know, is it worth your time and money and investing in this or looking into this or going and doing this? Is it going to help you out or is it not going to help you out? Are you ready to do this? If you know, if you are, go and do it. You know, there's just a lot of things that can be used in and you can be taken several different ways.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah. Cash, what about you?
I guess it'd be don't be somebody that you're not. Because in this industry, being somebody that has already done it, that you're not getting anywhere. But being your own self and making your own thing and pioneering the way, that's how you get big. And
Yeah. And that's true in just about everything you do.
everything. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But something that has stuck to me also that I've been able to use nearly every day in advice, and it goes like this: only brush the teeth that you want to keep. That's a good one. You can use that if you want to.
I will. That's great. Only brushes teeth.
Well, guys, we have a few more questions for you that we always ask our guests. The next one, we are the Kentucky FFA Foundation, and we are a philanthropy that we're all about philanthropy, which is really just giving back. We always like to give our guests the opportunity to shout out someone in their life that's really given back to them, invested their time and interest, and helped you all grow. So who is that person that each of you would like to shout out that's helped you grow?
Well, as far as agriculture and FFA goes, there's somebody that I really think dearly of. Somebody I've learned so much through, and somebody that has always supported us, whether it's through FFA or through our music, especially our music too. He's very proud of us, and I'm proud to call him a friend, but also a mentor. And he's a retired agriculture teacher of Crittenden County, Mr. Larry Duval. And so Mr. Duval has been so special to us, and I go work for him in the summertime whenever we're not working somewhere. But I have learned so much from him that as far as character goes too, because he's just a great person. But you can get so many great things from him, stuff you can use every single day, but just how to be a good person. And so I really think highly of him. But somebody that is, well, we talked about her earlier. I talk to her every day on the phone, and some of the funniest things we get from her. But it's so neat to talk to her because of her experience and how she's paved her way in country music. And that's Miss Jeannie Seeley. And we have learned so much from her. And of course, through her producing our records, it's helped us get to know her better too. But there's so much that she has done. And it just goes to show you, talk about giving back. Ernest Tubb, of course, was a huge country star back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, on up into the 80s, and still is a big one today, having the Ernest Tubb Record Shop, which helped so many get their start. Matter of fact, Elvis Presley was one of them that got their start on the Ernest Tubb Midnight Jamboree. But Ernest would pick up folks like Loretta Lynn was founded on the Ernest Tubb Midnight Jamboree. She's from Kentucky. But lots of folks. And Ernest was backstage at the Opera. Of course, he was there about every Saturday night he could. And Jeannie was there, one of her first times down there, and he put her on the show. And that right there was her ticket, and that got her kind of in the door. And so it's so neat to see how Ernest give back to give somebody else the chance to be back at country music. Yeah. And now Jeannie's repaying the favor. We just played the Ernest Tubb Midnight Jamboree a couple months ago, and here we are. We're starting to make our way up, and it's so neat. And so I've learned, as long as things go well and I get the chance to repay it, you bet I'm going to, because it sure meant a lot to me.
That's awesome.
That's wonderful. Thank you all for sharing that. And what an incredible people to get to spend time with and talk to every day. Larry Duval and Jeannie Seeley. That's great. So here's the last question is, what is something that you are loving right now that's helping you grow? It could be anything that you want to share.
Well, I mean, of course, listening to music, that's always my big one. Listening to something, and it don't have to be bluegrass. I listen to a lot of music. I like that old rock and roll stuff back to the 50s and 60s, and some of the old pop stuff. But the old early country stuff, some of my favorite. Of course, bluegrass too. That's a given. But something that helps us grow, and you can take those old pop hits from back in the 60s. you know, like a Leslie Gore song or something like that, just an off the wall song. And you can make that a bluegrass song. Or my favorite thing to do that really helps us a whole lot. Take those chord progressions, because those are some upswing jazz chord progressions, and you throw them in bluegrass, it catches everybody's attention. And so that gives us our own sound. It's something different. And so that right there helps us grow a whole lot, because it's different. And you're widening your horizon, if that makes sense, on your music listening skills. And so I like to sit down and break it apart piece by piece. You know, we'll take this guitar over here, and there's a mandolin, and pull the fiddle apart. And what are they doing individually, and how are they coming together and working? And the harmony parts. The harmony parts are big, especially for us being brothers and singing together. So how are they doing that? So you got to pull apart each individual section and listen to it individually and all together. It's kind of a wild thing, but you can learn so much from it, and it helps us a whole lot.
Yeah, that's so smart. Gosh, guys.
I've got you fooled.
No.
I'm just impressed you all can work together professionally and also as brothers and managing high school, and you all just really got it going on. And
well,
so glad we get to sit down and talk to you all.
Well, the camera is on, so we will behave. The things are different when she's turned off.
Yeah.
Sheldon's got 2 boys that are probably close apart in ages of you all, so this is probably fun to watch. And
yeah, my boys are 2 years apart, and I'll tell you, I do come from a musical family, and this year I really tried to get my 9-year-old to start with fiddle lessons.
Oh yeah.
And man, it's just, I'm looking at you all and I'm like, I need to make him go back. He played at the County Fiddlers Convention. And then I said, if you'll do that, you don't have to take lessons for the rest of the summer. And he has not picked it up since then. And so I don't know. Now I'm like, I think I'm going to go dust that fiddle off for an NTI day today.
There you go. That's what I do. Yeah. Get him going on it.
Yeah. Well, y'all, thank you so much for being with us. And we are rooting for you as you finish high school this year, as you finish your green hand degree this year. And we're so proud of y'all as Kentucky FFA members. And we look forward to just cheering you on in whatever is next. I'm going to believe the sky's the limit. So thank you all so much for being with us.
We
Well, thank
appreciate you
you.
having us on. What a pleasure it's been. Thank you all so much for everything you do for us and every member across the state. We appreciate you.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's great. Well, you all, thanks for tuning in for this episode of Growing Kentucky's Leaders. We'll see you next time. Growing Kentucky's Leaders is a podcast from the Kentucky FFA Foundation. The music has been performed by Bourbon County FFA member Joe Fritch. Production is provided by Isaiah Pruitt. Our artwork is by Julie Fritch Creative. Your hosts are Sheldon McKinney and Ruth Ann Fink, and you can find us on all social platforms at Kentucky FFA.